Hello and welcome to this video on approaches to staffing, staff as an asset or a cost. So in this series of videos we're going to be looking at a different department within the business now. We're going to be looking at the human resources department, sometimes known as the people department, and they're the department that are responsible for managing the employees that work within the business. And this poses lots of questions for a business as to how they can recruit the best staff, how they can motivate staff, what sort of style they should have when they're leading staff, and also their general approach to how they view staff. So here in this cartoon we can see two managers having a bit of a disagreement about whether they should train staff or not. In this video we're going to look at two different approaches to human resource management or managing staff. We're going to look at hard approach and a soft approach. We're going to look at the pros and cons of each approach in the context of different business situations. So let's start off with what we mean by a hard human resource management approach, hard HRM, and soft. Well, the hard approach is where the business views the employees as a cost. So I know I need labor, I know I need workers to produce the products for the business, and how much they cost me in terms of wages is really how I view them. A soft approach treats employees as the most important asset in the business and views employees as an important part of the business that can give it a competitive advantage over rivals. So you might be aware of this company, Amazon, but maybe not so much about how they treat their staff. Now, Amazon, we would say, offer or operate a hard human resource management. This is an article here that talks about the conditions that the workforce face in Amazon, and that according to this BBC investigation, the conditions there are not great and could cause mental and physical illness. So Amazon really view their staff as a way to get things done, a cost rather than an asset that gives them an advantage over competition. So what are the features of a hard human resources management style? Well, often these businesses pay at a minimum wage, so NMW there, the national minimum wage. They pay as low as possible. They often use temporary contracts or what are known as 0 hours contracts, where you have a contract with the business as an employee to work, but they don't specify how many hours you'll actually be working and actually getting paid for. It could be that they don't need you and therefore it could be 0 hours. Often there's a lack of job security that employees feel, low investment in training, low additional benefits like holiday pay. Often you're motivated through things like commissions, so you might get an extra percentage payment for every item that you sell. So often there are financial incentives to work hard. There are often penalties imposed on employees who don't measure up or fail to meet targets. And communication tends to be from the top down, so the bosses giving very clear instructions to the subordinates, the lower level workers, told exactly what they need to be doing. So a hard approach really does try and minimize costs and maximize efficiency. Now you might be quite surprised to hear this, but a business that's often credited with having a soft human resource management approach is McDonald's. Some statistics at the bottom here illustrate that point. Over 85% of McDonald's employees told this survey that they love the flexibility their job offers. 9 in 10, 90% of business managers at McDonald's started off as crew members, so the most junior levels of staff. In fact, a third of their senior management team, the executive team, started their careers in one of their restaurants. So they promote a lot of staff within the organisation. And the last statistic there, they spend £43 million in the UK on training McDonald's staff. So what are the features of a soft human resource management approach? Well, often they don't try for minimum pay. They might have quite a competitive pay structure and maybe some benefits alongside that. So maybe the staff might get a share of the profits the business might make. They often spend a lot of time trying to get the right people. So they have quite effective recruitment and they use things called assessment centres where they invite applicants in, they see how they interact with other applicants, they ask them to do certain tasks, interview them, and then they make a selection, which can take time and cost money, but they get a better outcome in terms of the staff they select. They invest heavily in training and development programs to improve the skills of their workforce. They offer permanent contracts providing job security. They use other motivators, not necessarily financial ones. They give staff the opportunity to work in teams, or they give them the chance for promotion to encourage them to work hard. Often communication is not just from the leader telling the workers what to do, it's maybe more two-way. How do you think we should do this? The leader might ask, and the workers will come back with their view. The employees are given more responsibility for their work. So we've looked at the difference between the hard and soft approaches. Now let's look at the pros and cons in context of different businesses. So what are the advantages of treating staff as a cost? Well, it's easy to change the size of the workforce or the makeup of the workforce if we have lots of temporary staff, if we have little job security and permanent contracts. And so if we're a very seasonal business, for example, or the business's needs change, we can change the staffing that we have quite quickly. The real big result here is that it results in lower costs. And if we have lower costs, then we can make greater profits. If we make greater profits, this is good for our shareholders. Also, we can maybe monitor more closely what employees are doing, because we have very tight control over employees if we're operating a hard human resource management approach, which may improve quality, for example. What are the advantages of treating staff more like an asset? Well, they might be better skilled and more adaptable employees, which may make them more productive. We like to hold on to our staff for longer, which means we don't have to spend as much recruiting and training new staff in the long run. We might generate a good reputation for being a good employer, and therefore we can attract good quality caliber workers. And lastly, the workforce might be more motivated as a result because they feel more valued. So which is better, a hard approach or a soft approach? Well, as in business, with everything, the context matters. What is this business? What are their objectives? What is their source of competitive advantage? Is customer service particularly important, or actually is it the product that is the most important? What is the nature of the work? Are these simple routine tasks that anybody could do? Maybe that would favour more of a hard approach, or are they quite complicated and varied and we need high caliber staff? Maybe that would be a softer approach would work the best. So in this video, we've looked at the difference between hard and soft approaches and looked at the pros and cons in different businesses' contexts. That's it. Thanks very much for listening.